Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for being here. If you have not watched one of my videos before, well, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Melanie Hirschhorn. I'm a content marketing strategist for women coaches, consultants, speakers who've written a book and want to have a rinse and repeat content marketing system to amplify their message and their mission. And I am so excited today because other than this guy who won't get off my lap, I have a real amazing guest joining me. So Marty, do you want to say hi for a second or you just want to stare at me? No, he just wants to stare at me. But Susanne Grant, she is not going to just stare at me. She is going to give you some amazing information. She is the author of a book called Drop the Mother Effing, I'm going to say it like that, Struggle. And she is now, I believe, a bestseller on Amazon, but I'm going to let her talk about that. So without further ado, welcome. I'm going to bring Susanne in here, and here she is. Hi!
Hi! I'm so glad to be here today with you. And yes, I am an international best-selling author. This is actually the second time I managed to get a best-selling book, but this is the first time with my own solo book.
There it is. There it is. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's so cool. And I'm gonna, full disclosure, I got a chance to review the book before it got published.
You're actually in the book.
I'm actually in the book.
Yes.
It's even cooler. I'm in an international best-selling book now.
Ta-da-da-da. Your name is in it.
Yay! Thank you. I love that. So you have the most incredible. When we met, okay, so keep in mind, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Susanna's in like Aberdeen, Scotland, and we would never have left our homes, walked down the street, and met one another. But if not for the beauty of the internet, here we are. So when we met, it was like instant. I had to know this woman. She had really. You have the most.
He's channeling my love.
I know. You have the most storied past, and and you're so young, so you've done so much in such little time. Can you kind of give us a sense of who you are and what you do and what brought you to the point of writing this incredible book?
Oh God, how long do I have? Because that's quite an answer to give you. Well, as you say, I'm Susanne Grant. I am originally from the Netherlands, but I live in Scotland, as you can probably hear by my accent, because I don't particularly sound Scottish yet. You never know. I moved here a couple of years ago after, I've always wanted to move to the UK. And some friends of mine said, well, if you want to sleep on our couch and look for a job. I said, are you serious? They said, yes. So 5 weeks later, I was, quit my job, move countries. They had 2 bags with me, and I've been here ever since. Where do I start? Like I said, originally from the Netherlands, where I did my degrees and courses, and I specialized actually in what they call geoarchaeology, specifically the Holocaust and genocide, which basically meant I was part of teams doing research to families members that are still lost from the Second World War, and doing isotope, DNA, historical research stuff. And after I moved here and got pregnant with my oldest daughter, I noticed that was a bit heavy to do. We're trying to stay in your feel good zone, preparing for your upcoming birth. So I decided to change fields. I got myself a different training to help women here prepare for pregnancy, birth, and early motherhood. And as I started doing that more and more, I discovered that you can empower women all you want, but if the system around them and the people around them don't change or support them, it's completely useless. So that's why now my main focus is on helping organizations and individuals to create a work-life balance that actually works, so we can avoid, a stress-related absence cost and increase job satisfaction and performance. Well, long story short, obviously. Yeah, because I've always had a big love for the written word, hence probably also why I did, the studies on the Holocaust, specifically on, human culture, and especially in what is it, Northwest Europe. Yeah, now I'm here and actually wrote my own first book, and this book's particular is about my journey of becoming a parent, and yeah, the cultural conditioning that I bumped into growing up, and that I had to unravel for myself in order to have the success that I want, but without, yeah, killing myself in the process, because there has been times in my life that I wondered if this was it, just because my body and my mental health was in such a state I just couldn't go on anymore.
So, define struggle.
Oh, that's a good question. For me, it's a feeling of going against what you want to do, because you think you should be doing something differently, whether that's something from, your company or your culture, or whoever is, that that voice in the back of your head telling you to do otherwise. And it's basically going against what you as an individual stand for, and that gives such a conflicting feeling inside. That's for me how I define struggle, because you're trying to achieve stuff that is just not aligned with your soul or who you are. And it's yeah, it can really drain your complete spirit and suck the life out of you if that's the way you keep going. And the for myself as well, and also of course you've read the book. It was almost finished. So the client stories were missing at that time, but the client stories that I now also added talk a lot about, what if you just had a heart attack because of, your overworking pattern. Now what? So of course the range of problems that show in people's lives are different, and how the struggle show itself. It's just because our many of us in grown up in at least a Western culture, it's, work hard, get yourself a degree, and you will be a success. Well, yeah, there are now enough students who finished their university this last year, and there's no jobs at all available. So that paradigm that we grew up with from the previous yeah, generations, it just doesn't work anymore. Yet we keep trying uh, to do a similar pattern. So I completely unravel the history side of why you're stuck, and yeah, what you can do to actually create the success you want. Not, what your dead ancestors are telling are telling you, but what you want
Wow.
to create.
Yeah. Okay. So, you are helping us not only with strategy but with mindset as well. And as you can have all the strategy in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to be able to make any change. So, if you were talking to somebody, a reader, let's say you were talking to a reader, what would you say to them about ensuring that they have the right mindset for, you know, moving past the struggle?
I think for me personally, and what I've seen with clients as well, it's the moment that you realize there is a different option available. So you don't need to have it all figured out and like, I'm gonna nail this by tomorrow, but just having that realization, or that sprinkling of hope, that she's like, you know what? I don't have to kill myself in a job to, or if you're self-employed, to work 80, 100 hours a week, um, never see my family, don't eat shitty food, and whatever it is that you're doing to yourself. That there is a way forward where you can look well after yourself and have the success and impact you desire. It's just figuring out that pattern underneath what you're telling yourself, and often because of our age group, our parents and grandparents have still a link to the the Holocaust, the Second World War, those mindsets that they had after the war of rebuilding the country, making sure we stay safe, we put our best leg forward, we would say in Dutch, and put the effort in, and you will have you're set for life. You have a good job, you have a good education, buy yourself a house, and yeah, that may work for you. But if it's not, you keep struggling to do because that's what you're supposed to do. It might just actually be because deep down you want something completely else, and it's just giving yourself permission to explore that new way of being and find something that works for you uniquely as a person. So to answer your question in short, be open-minded.
Open-minded. Well, that's easier said than done, of course.
Yes.
But I suppose if somebody's come to your book, they're ready. They're ready to make a change.
Yeah, you don't pick up a book like this when you say, no, let me struggle a bit more and I'll see it in a few more years. Maybe I'm ready then. No, the book specifically is aimed at women, because I talk a lot about the conditioning as a woman. But if you're looking at this as a guy, or if you don't identify as either, there will still be a lot of helpful explanations in there. But yeah, it really is. Well, if you're ready to just say, look, well, I've struggled long enough. As I say it in the book, I've done my fair share. I'm done. I'll find, there has to be a different way, right? This cannot be it. Yeah, and if you're at that point that you're like, you know what? F it. I'm ready for this, to try something else, and this is a great place to start, because obviously I work one-to-one with coaching clients as well. But this is really like I think you said it as well in your review, and I had more reviews coming back. It's like having a little me inside your pocket, just yes. Giving you pointers on, try this, try that. Try this angle, and then because of course I have a love for writing, there's a lot of journaling exercises in there, just because it really helps you to organize your thoughts and see what pattern it is for you, whether that's whether you believe you have to work hard just to be successful, or that you have to have a sacrifice in order to be successful, or you have to be worthy in order to prove that you are enough so you can receive. There are all kinds of beliefs around success and hard work and effectively being worthy enough to get this what you want. And a lot of us struggle with self-worth and feelings around not enoughness. So my goal for this book is that when you're done reading, you feel a lot better about yourself, including all the crap you went through, and you just think, yeah, you know what, that tough period in my life is actually helpful. I can now see how that's hindsight, how that turned out to be a helpful stepping stone. So, instead of beating yourself up for it, you use it to take you places in life.
I want to talk about the writing process. Was it hard to create this book, or was it kind of like it was all in your head and you just kind of went and it all came out on paper?
Well, I'm not the one to do hard work, so I won't say that. But it's I've been wanting to write this book since 3 years now, and I've played around designing my own covers and things, and just to get a feel for it. But to get that structure down on paper, I just was like, right, where do you start? I know how to write. I've been writing since I was 14. I even had my own high school newspaper where I was the head editor and stuff. So writing is in my blood, right? But yeah, to actually go, let's go write me a book. It's kind of, next level. And I ended up, of course, looking on stuff on Google. And because of, the cookies nowadays, I got an advertising for a guy who helps you in 90 days write your book by teaching you how to map out your book. How timely, right?
It's like you're talking and the retargeting is listening.
Yeah, retargeting ads, boom.
Yeah.
So yeah, I ended up buying his course, which was just a digital course, automated emails, and he just broke it down step by step. So within a week, I had my layout, and I realized as I was writing the book, I've been writing for a business magazine as well. There was a lot of what I've written for these business magazines that actually could fit in the book. So it was initially a lot of copy paste.
Hey, that's great.
Work smarter, not harder, my
Yeah.
motto. But then, of course, tying it all together. And then, so it makes sense, of course, from my perspective, but also for the reader's perspective. Otherwise, it's all over the place. And then, because I also have, for example, on my website, you can do a quiz and uncover your own success strategy. So it helps you, narrow down what path you need to go to with your beliefs, right?
Mhm.
And in that section where I explain everything, I also added a number of, real life examples is the word I'm looking for, from customers. So if you have that certain pattern, how can that show up? So it makes it very relatable just from a reader's perspective, I think, because I because of that, the structure, the guide, the course that helped. It made it very, to the point and direct. How unlike me, especially with a title like that. Of course, you don't expect a very direct book. But yeah, this as it's breaking down, and it then gets a certain flow, and because I then weave in personal stories and examples, just because I wanted to be relatable, because there's no point on reading a book saying, oh,
Do
feel
this, do
good,
this, do this. But
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, and what do you know about it, right? So I
Right.
also put in my own, as in, yeah, crap, what did I do this time moments, and how that's transformed by things, how I implemented that, and because of the past I went through, and the abuse I experienced as a child, and as domestic violence and such as well. I think there's still a lot of these topics, so put in a corner, and let's not talk about this. And I just put it out there as in, look, yes, it was not cool. And we went through it,
Mhm.
but there is a way forward. So yeah, that I just want the reader to feel like, if they read the book and how it's laid out, that one, what you went through, yeah, it sucks, but it can be a stepping stone to the next thing. So what are you gonna take from the information of the situation you went through, and at least give yourself permission to make it a bit easier, if not a lot easier. Because in the end, it's a choice where you say, you know what, I'm no longer available. I'm dropping the MV struggle for good. And I'm now moving forward. But you can't go from, one there to there in one day. It's gonna have to be step by step, and some shit takes two. And then, as I explain in the book as well, and I'm sure you've read it as well, how I explained around my trauma, how that gradually shifted step by step. So don't know if that answered your question, but
It did, absolutely. So how can our viewers get their own copy?
well, the book for now is available on Amazon, and we are making it available later this year through other publishing systems. So hopefully there will be in your bookstore soon. So if you see a bright yellow book called Drop the Envy Struggle, that one is mine. But I made a website, and nice and easy. So if you type in dropthestruggle.co.uk, it will go to my author page, and you can just click on buy now. It will take you to Amazon UK, but Amazon will that's my microphone, automatically say, would you like to buy it in your own region? And then it's available worldwide, so you can just do buy it on your local Amazon, and you don't have to pay 50 quid in shipping from the UK. So it's what I call print on demand. So you get a freshly printed book, hot from the presses. Just
Wonderful.
for you. Yeah, and then of course you can read it, and it comes with, what, like I said already, with journaling exercises. I also made a guided meditation to help you start creating a new future from your future vision instead of your past trauma. So it helps you with creating that shift in your energy. And of course, there are more helpful tips, tricks, and things all included.
Wonderful. Susanna, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like this book, like I said in my review, is like having you in our pocket, making sure that we are supported and that we can get that transformation that we all desperately need to drop the
Yes,
struggle.
for sure.
So thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will post the link so that you can take a look at that book. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.